is an active fire protection device used to extinguish or control small fires, often in emergency situations. It is not intended for use on an out-of-control fire, such as one which has reached the ceiling, endangers the user, that is, no escape route, smoke, explosion hazard, etc., or otherwise requires the expertise of a fire department. Typically, a fire extinguisher consists of a handheld cylindrical pressure vessel containing an agent which can be discharged to extinguish a fire. Fire extinguishers manufactured with non-cylindrical pressure vessels also exist, but are less common. In the United States, fire extinguishers in all buildings other than houses are generally required to be serviced and inspected by a fire protection service company at least annually. Some jurisdictions require more frequent service for fire extinguishers. The service places a tag on the extinguisher to indicate the type of service performed: annual inspection, recharge, new fire extinguisher. A British fire extinguisher with ID sign, call point and fire action sign. There are two main types of fire extinguishers: stored pressure and cartridge operated. In stored pressure units, the expellant is stored in the same chamber as the firefighting agent itself. Depending on the agent used, different propellants are used. With dry chemical extinguishers, nitrogen is typically used. Water and foam extinguishers typically use air. Stored pressure fire extinguishers are the most common type. Cartridge-operated extinguishers contain the expellant gas in a separate cartridge that is punctured prior to discharge, exposing the propellant to the extinguishing agent. This type is not as common, used primarily in areas such as industrial facilities, where they receive higher than average use. They have the advantage of simple and prompt recharge, allowing an operator to discharge the extinguisher, recharge it, and return to the fire in a reasonable amount of time. Unlike stored pressure types, these extinguishers use compressed carbon dioxide instead of nitrogen, although nitrogen cartridges are used on low-temperature -60 rated models. Cartridge-operated extinguishers are available in dry chemical and dry powder types in the US and in water, wetting agent, foam, dry chemical classes A, B, C and BC, and dry powder class D types in the rest of the world. Wheeled fire extinguisher and a sign inside a parking lot. Fire extinguishers are further divided into handheld and cart-mounted, also called wheeled extinguishers. Handheld extinguishers weigh from 0.5 to 14 kilograms, 1.1 to 30.9 pounds, and are hence easily portable by hand. Cart-mounted units typically weigh more than 23 kilograms, 51 pounds. These wheeled models are most commonly found at construction sites, airport runways, heliports, as well as docks and marinas. Fire extinguishers are typically fitted in buildings at an easily accessible location, such as against a wall in a high-traffic area. They are also often fitted to motor vehicles, watercraft, and aircraft. This is required by law in many jurisdictions, for identified classes of vehicles. Under NFPA 10, all commercial vehicles must carry at least one fire extinguisher, with size/UL rating depending on type of vehicle and cargo. That is, fuel tankers typically must have a 20 pounds (9.1 kilograms), while most others can carry a 5 pounds (2.3 kilograms). The revised NFPA 10 created criteria on the placement of fast-flow extinguishers in locations such as those storing and transporting pressurized flammable liquids and pressurized flammable gas, or areas with possibility of three-dimensional Class B hazards are required to have fast-flow extinguishers, as required by NFPA 5.5.1.1. Varying classes of competition vehicles require fire extinguishing systems, the simplest requirements being a 1A, 10 BC handheld portable extinguisher mounted to the interior of the vehicle. The height limit for installation, as determined by the National Fire Protection Association (NFPA), is 60 and 1.5 meters for fire extinguishers weighing less than 40 pounds (18 kilograms). However, compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA) also needs to be followed within the United States. The ADA height limit of the fire extinguisher, as measured at the handle, is 48 and 1.2 meters. Fire extinguisher installations are also limited to protruding no more than 4 inches into the adjacent path of travel. The ADA rule states that any object adjacent to a path of travel cannot project more than 4 in 10 centimeters if the object's bottom leading edge is higher than 27 in 0.69 meters. The 4-inch protrusion rule was designed to protect people with low vision and those who are blind. The height limit rule of 48 in is primarily related to access by people with wheelchairs, but it is also related to other disabilities as well. Prior to 2012, the height limit was 54 in 1.4 meters for side reach by wheelchair-accessible installations. Installations made prior to 2012 at the 54-inch height are not required to be changed.